I hope you guys are enjoying your hopefully day off from work and getting to spend time with family and all that kind of stuff. We went to the Labor Day parade this morning, took the dog down there, and he did surprisingly well. I thought he'd be scared of all the sirens and stuff, but he didn't. It didn't bother him. So I took some pictures, and of course I made an IG reel because well, I just did. It's cute. Anyway, so I want to continue on this week with the topic of Christians and cannabis. So, you know, how can followers of Christ justify using cannabis? So, we know that since the pandemic, people have really struggled with anxiety and depression. It's just gotten so much worse. Providers are writing thousands of prescriptions for antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. The opioid crisis has gotten so out of hand that hundreds die daily from opioid overdoses. But where does cannabis and its compounds fit in? So, God, the creator of the universe, designed our body with a system that responds to the compounds in CBD and cannabis. It's called the endocannabinoid system. It was named that by scientists because they found in the early 1990s that we have this system that mimics the same compounds that are found in cannabis and CBD. So it's called an endocannabinoid system, or an ECS. So we have these receptors in our body that are part of that endocannabinoid system, and they're activated whenever we introduce CBD or cannabis into the system. We make our own endocannabinoids on demand, and they're structurally very similar to CBD and cannabis. That information alone should cause you to sit back and just take notice, like, oh, there's something to this, and we should not turn our heads and dig our heels into the ground and say, this is a devil's lettuce and gateway drug and all that stuff, because the same thing that I preach all the time about this is if you use it right and you're using it for medicine, you're going to benefit. You're not going to harm yourself. So God, our heavenly creator, designed us to be able to use this plant for our health and well-being. So regardless of whether you're Christian, atheist, agnostic, Hindu, whatever, you can use cannabis safely if used correctly. The problem that most Christians claim is that people that use cannabis are stoners or losers or druggies. And that concept is a given due to the stigma of the plant over the last 80 plus years. I mean, really, politically, they designed it politically to destroy the perception of the plant. And that's exactly what's happened. And a lot of people do overuse this plant. They smoke too much, they smoke for too long. It can sometimes have a rebound effect on the body, resulting in worsening mood disorders. Or you can build up a really high tolerance, or actually using too much cannabis can cause an endocannabinoid dysfunction. And these are all really valid points, which lead me to the way I advise using cannabis, again, as medicine. So there's a scripture that's found in Galatians 5:13. For you were called to be free, or have liberty, brothers and sisters, only don't use this freedom or liberty as an opportunity for the flesh, but serving one another through love. So cannabis can be used to satisfy the flesh, as can wine, alcohol of other kinds. Or you can use too much and experience undesirable effects. It can actually cause anxiety, paranoia, and headaches if you use too much. Using it to get stoned all the day is abusing your liberty to satisfy your flesh. But if you're using this plant to address health issues like anxiety, depression, inflammation, insomnia, immunity, yeah, we can build up our immune system by using cannabis. Hot flashes, which, y'all know I'm the queen of hot flashes. If you know me at all, you know that. Cancer, then it's being used in accordance with God's command that we use the seed-bearing plants that he's given us. Another scripture to enforce using it carefully is found in 1 Corinthians 10:23. Everything is permissible, but not everything builds up or edifies. So if you abuse your liberty and you use cannabis in excess, it's just really not beneficial or edifying. It can cause you physical harm if you use too much. and for too long. So we are admonished to practice self-control as found in Galatians 5:22-26. And I'm not reading that scripture, but you can look that one up. That can be applied to all things, not just cannabis. So habits like food overindulgences, watching too much TV, playing too many video games, over-exercising, overspending, not following the rules in your household or workplace could all be areas of overindulgence. And these are examples of where we should practice self-control. Another concept to consider is being sober-minded. But what does this actually mean? So from a biblical perspective, Paul coined the scripture in Titus 2:6-8. Likewise, exhort the young men to be sober-minded, in all things showing yourself to be a pattern of good works. In doctrine, showing integrity, reverence, incorruptibility, sound speech that cannot be condemned, that one who is an opponent may be ashamed, having nothing evil to say to you. I believe the point is to live a life of self-control, avoiding overindulgence in any substances from cannabis to alcohol to even mood-altering medications. So folks that take, and this is my sort of soapbox, I hate benzodiazepines. They are so bad. Yes, if you're having an acute anxiety episode, something terrible has happened, you know, you're experiencing the loss of a loved one, you know, maybe one of your close family, friends, or relatives has been in a terrible accident and you're very distraught over that. Yes, benzodiazepines have their place, but for years they've been overprescribed. I had a 91-year-old woman, when I tried to tell her that she needed to stop the Klonopin that she'd been on for 41 years, she said, "Oh, honey, my doctor told me don't ever let anyone stop this pill because this is your happy pill." Well, that pretty much irritated me because first thing, she was probably in menopause, and so she was really struggling with all the mood changes that go along with menopause. And he, in a chauvinistic way, said, "Yeah, this is your happy pill. You need to take this forever." Well, she ended up getting off of it on her own without any help from me. But the problem with those drugs is that when you take them over a long period of time, you're setting yourself up for early onset Alzheimer's, dementia, and for just, you can't think. You can't think if you're on them for a very long time. They're highly addictive and very difficult to stop. So that if your doctor says, "I'm going to give you 0.5 milligrams of Xanax, and you're only supposed to take it 1 to 2 times a day or as needed," and you end up taking that dose 3 or 4 times a day, that's overindulgence. You're not using it sensibly or responsibly. You're going to set yourself up for failure. So that's my little soapbox, and I get on that when it comes to benzos. I hate that drug. You'd be a lot better off, if you have anxiety, to substitute that drug with CBD. You don't even have to use THC, just CBD by itself. Even though there are other ways, other things that you can use, like, let's see, CBG, CBN, THCV, all these other constituents that are found in the cannabis plant can help with anything that you're facing, from anxiety all the way to cancer. So that's it for today. Have a happy Labor Day, y'all. See you later. Hey, I just did want to mention one other thing. Please, even if it's just a smiley face emoji, can you put something in the comments, because that will boost that algorithm and more people will get to see what I'm putting out there in this private group. This is a private group. This is not public to Facebook. You had to ask to get into this group. So if you're in here and this stuff is helping you, give me a little bit of feedback so I know that it's working, that it's helping you. If you have questions, let me know, please. All right. See you later.